An extra time thriller between Hume City and South Melbourne. Adelaide United keep their hopes of a fourth Australia Cup alive, and Melbourne victory, favourites to win the Cup in 2024. Hey guys, welcome to the Australia Cup quarterfinals recap. My name's Lockie, this is Coastwood Football. Would love to get your thoughts and reaction to these quarterfinal matches. In the comments, a lot happened and there's a lot to take away from these four matches, and we're going to kick off with the first one that took place on Wednesday evening, and it was probably the game of the round. Hume City 2, South Melbourne 3 in the end. Obviously, two Victorian rivals, who were heading into this game, both hopeful of going through the semi-finals. Both teams had played good games leading into this matchup, and this was an absolute thriller. It was back and forth, and if we scroll down to the start of the timeline here, this is sort of sums up the game if we look at it this way. Josh Bingham, former Central Coast Mariners striker, opening the scoring in the 12th minute, and they managed to go into the halftime sheds with the lead there. Hume City, South Melbourne equalising early on the second half, courtesy of a penalty from Harry Sawyer, and then soon after, Mikola making it 2-1, but then literally 2 minutes later, an incredible strike from Lockie Weir from long range. We've seen some stunning goals in the Australia Cup, and the quarterfinals certainly had some incredible strikes, that's for sure. The game going to extra time, and it was right at the death. Jordan Lampard scoring it after the ball was bouncing around the Hume City box. Absolute drama. Anyone really could have come away with it in the end. It felt like this was the kind of game that was destined for penalties. And we look at the stats as well. This sort of sums up the narrative. Also, you look at the shots there, 23 for Hume City, 19 for South Melbourne. I mean, Hume City will be disappointed, especially because that first half was pretty strong from them, opening the scoring and they were able to control much of that game. But the way South Melbourne responded, and we've seen it a few times from South Melbourne now. We think back to the Olympic FC game as well, when they were at home, and that was obviously a crazy game. There was like a huge delayed mid-game due to a storm. They're so gutsy, South Melbourne, and this might really help them in the semi-final match against Macarthur FC, and if they can get through potentially again in the final, because they've got some incredible tough matches coming up if they want to win the Australia Cup this year, South Melbourne. But they are showing incredible spirit and heart, as they have shown throughout this NPL Victoria season as well, to do as well as they have in the league also, and having this great run in the Cup as well. But just the gutsy performance in the end to stand strong. Jordan Lampard jumping in the box there, poking that header home. 3-2 in the end, an absolute thriller indeed. South Melbourne going through to take on Macarthur FC in the semi-finals. Let's jump into the next match now. It was another extra time thriller. Adelaide United 2, Western Sydney Wanderers 1. And this was my most anticipated game heading into the quarterfinals. Obviously, two A-League teams. Very curious to see how this one was going to pan out. In my predictions video that I did prior to the quarterfinals, I did tip Western Sydney Wanderers. I was a bit more impressed with what I'd seen from them. Adelaide, a team who are maybe still, looking for a couple more signings in defence, a couple 3-2 victories. It came a bit close for them in the last couple of rounds, but they were good in this game. I thought both teams were really, really solid. I don't think Western Sydney played a bad game. I don't think that's the reason why they lost. Adelaide in the end just coming away with it. Ryan Kitto with a late goal in extra time. But that first goal, dude, Austin Ayubi, we have to take a second just to touch on that goal. An incredible strike from Austin Ayubi from long range. This is a guy who arrived mid-season at Adelaide last year, and he's a player who has shown glimpses here and there. But this goal sort of shows us what he's capable of. And obviously with the departure of Nestor Irankunda, Adelaide are going to be looking in terms of, who's going to be that wide player to fill sort of that Irankunda role. It was over on the left side, but Austin Ayubi could be that guy, sort of that player with the X factor that Nestor Irankunda had to make an impact. I like the setup that Adelaide deployed for this game. It was interesting to see, Dylan Parias dropping back to right back, a position he hasn't played for quite some time. Zach Clough was very good in this game as well. He's going to be so key for Adelaide once again this season. A very youthful lineup for Adelaide, as it was for Wanderers as well. And there's some things we can talk about with Western Sydney's setup here tactically as well, because the big loss for Wanderers heading into this game was no Josh Brillante in defensive midfield. It has been Oscar Priestman and Brillante at the base of midfield for most of this Cup campaign. Interestingly enough, Alan Stajic going for a 5 at the back, and they were defensively solid for much of this game, despite the 2 goals that they scored. I thought the likes of Bonatig and Jeong as well both had great games. Pantanzopoulos, another young defender in there as well, had a solid match. And for much of this game, they were sitting back quite deep and really defending in sort of that 5-3-2 sort of setup. And it meant that they weren't really able to create too many quality opportunities, or, well, they did have the opportunities, but sort of, maintain the pressure. The opportunities was sort of a bit sporadic throughout the game for Western Sydney Wanderers. Let's have a glance at the stats now. Adelaide 17 shots, 5 on target. Wanderers 19 shots, 9 on target. A lot of those coming towards the end of extra time. Obviously, we look at Adelaide, Ryan Kitto scoring that really nicely worked goal from the Reds in the 93rd minute, and Wanderers were just pushing and pushing from there, and did have the opportunity, and they had the opportunities, and like I said, they didn't play a bad game. I think if you're a Wanderers fan, you can't be disappointed with how your team played. Only question mark is maybe over the tactical setup from Alen Stajic. You felt like if they had gone for their usual sort of 4-4-2 setup, more of a 4-2-3-1 if you like, that might have given them a bit more control in this game. They may have created some more promising opportunities consistently throughout the match. 2-1 in the end, though. I mean, Wanderers will take the positives out of this. And Adelaide United, I mean, this is a big win for them to boost their confidence of winning another Australia Cup this year. Going through to face Melbourne Victory next, Adelaide United, a huge match that one, an original rivalry in the semi-finals, and we're going to be talking a little bit about the semi-finals later on in the video. But let's jump into the third game of the quarterfinals, Oakleigh Cannons, Macarthur FC. The Bulls winning 1-0, courtesy of a third-minute strike from Valerie Germain. Valerie Germain again showing up in the crucial moment there early on through 1-1, and he's got the experience and the quality to finish. But you look at the stats here, and it was this was probably the most boring game. I don't usually call football games boring, but this was certainly one of the quieter games of the Australia Cup so far. 14 shots for Oakleigh. They did have some opportunities throughout this game. Macarthur FC, just 5 shots and 2 on target. It was that early goal that they got, and that sort of, they were happy just to sit with that. They were happy just to chill with that for pretty much 87 minutes of the game. They did just edge out possession as well. But the thing that really hurt Oakleigh Cannons in this game was just their lack of quality in front of goal. They had some fantastic opportunities. In the first half, there was a phenomenal couple of saves from Philip Curto, a long-range strike that he tipped over the bar. Once again, the Polish keeper showing why he's one of the best goalkeepers in the A-League. But this Macarthur side, man, I mean, they had a near full-strength side, a couple players missing. Lockie Rose coming in for his first start for Macarthur after re-signing for the club. Danny De Silva starting in a creative role as well. I thought Marin Jakalic again was impressive in this game. He was looking dangerous on the counter-attack for the Bulls, and defensively very solid. And you look at that back line and it's experienced, especially that centre-back partnership. Tommy Uskok, Matt Yerman, 2 players who have played plenty of minutes across the A-League over the years. And Philip Curto, as we mentioned, I mean, one of the best goalkeepers in the A-League, if not their best at the moment, especially with the departure of maybe Paul Izzo, retirement of Danny Vukovic. There's probably a debate, to suggest that Philip Curto is the best goalkeeper in the A-League right now. Maybe Alex Paulson at Auckland FC might have something to say about that this season. Oakleigh Cannons, though, I mean, they have to be really proud of their cup run. I mean, the highlight for them has to be that 3-1 win against Sydney FC in the round of 32. But again, of course, this is the second time Oakleigh Cannons have come up against Macarthur FC in the Australia Cup. Last time it was in the semi-finals in 2022. Bulls once again digging deep and getting the win and going through to face South Melbourne. And Macarthur will be heading into that game, with high hopes. Another trip to Victoria, but it'll be a tough test. Some really entertaining semi-finals awaiting us, that is for sure. Let's talk about the final game, though. Moreton City Excelsior losing out 4-0 to Melbourne Victory. We have to talk about Melbourne Victory and in terms of what the threat that they pose for this Australia Cup, but also the upcoming A-League season. But first of all, again, Moreton City Excelsior have to be very proud of their Australia Cup run, the big cup set win against Perth Glory last time around. Heading into this game, hopeful to get another big cup set. Melbourne Victory just too tricky in the end. They're so strong Victory, and were able to put away their 4 goals that they managed to do with just 5 shots on target impressively. This is a Victory side who are looking so well oiled and just so well organised under new head coach Patrick Hisnorbo. Obviously, plenty of, I guess, controversy and some opinions in regards to the appointment of Patrick Kisnorbo, a former Melbourne City player and head coach, has literally won trophies with City, now leading Melbourne Victory. But I tell you what, Kisnorbo's doing a great job of getting Victory fans on board, because the way they're playing, the way he's setting up this team, and they're winning games convincingly. Another 4-goal scoreline for Melbourne Victory: 4-1 against Lambton Jaffers, 4-1 against NWS Spirit, and now 4-0 against Moreton City Excelsior. And you look at the team that they're deploying here, it's such a strong starting 11 with so much threat. Virgos with a couple goals here. He's a player who could be a real sort of crucial player in the box, and his finishing, the quality of his finishing, he's shown already in these couple games. Has been impressive, the Greek striker, and he's keeping the likes of Bruno Fornaroli on the bench. And this is something that I've said a couple times now, but I think Melbourne Victory heading into this A-League season have the best squad depth in the A-League. You look at the players on the bench there: Traore, one of the most experienced left-backs in the A-League, a good youngster in Fabian Monge, Jing Reese, Josh Rawlins, Ren Episcopo, Bruno Fornaroli. These are all players who could probably slot into the starting 11 of most A-League squads, and they're sitting on the bench here at Melbourne Victory, and this probably is what their lineup is going to look like for this season, this sort of starting 11 and the bench here as well. Once again, Casey Boss getting a run at left back ahead of the experienced Adama Traore. So we might see Boss, he might be set for a big breakout season at left back for Melbourne Victory. Geordie Valadon was good in this game as well. A couple assists for him. But it's going to be hard to stop Melbourne Victory in this cup. We can talk about these semi-finals now, and they're looking so exciting, these couple matchups. So we've got South Melbourne taking on Macarthur FC. A tricky one to predict. I don't think people should underestimate Macarthur. I think, especially that round of 16 game against Newcastle when they were down 2-0 at halftime, the way they responded and ended up winning the game 4-3. They have the quality and experience on the pitch to really beat anyone on their day. South Melbourne, though, they'll be backing themselves. There's so much excitement and momentum around South Melbourne at the moment, and they'll be hopeful that they can make it through to their first ever Australia Cup final. And then we've got the other semi-final, an original rivalry: Adelaide United, Melbourne Victory. I think Victory, well, they're the home team, which has been announced. Victory will be hosting, and I think that's so important. I think a home advantage, if Adelaide had gotten it, I may have swung their way. But Melbourne Victory being the home team, they'll be too strong. I think they'll have too much in this game. I'd be surprised if Adelaide got the win away. You look at the squad here for Melbourne Victory, just much more experience, just much more quality. Not doubting, the quality of some of those Adelaide players. But it's just a much more well-organised and sort of complete squad that Melbourne Victory have at the moment. So, a couple of tricky ones to predict. We're going to be doing a semi-final predictions video in a couple days' time, so make sure to stay subscribed to the channel if you haven't done so already, so you don't miss that video, because a couple huge semi-finals coming up. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Drop your thoughts on these matches in the comment section. My name's Lockie, this is Coast Watch Football. Hit the like button on the way out, and I'll see you in the next one.